Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So now I'm an expert. Got Jason here, man. Jason, you're actually an expert on doing these interviews. This is your second one.
This is my second one with you. That's right.
We shit the bed. Sorry about that.
It's all right. It's cool. It's a good dry run.
Yeah, man. I don't even remember what we talked about, but
It's all right. Start fresh.
I do remember what I found really fascinating about what you do. If you want to put that seat higher, you're welcome to. I feel like
I feel like a little kid.
Yeah,
right.
right.
The kids table,
bro. It feels like that's what
there we
when
go.
you go in to talk to a boss and
Hi,
shit.
hi.
And the boss will be like, "Wait the fuck up here," and you're like, "So I got it." All right, that better. Yeah, 'cause you taller
I do
than
that.
me, man.
I do that.
Yeah, I think
Stand a lot.
that's a thing, right?
It is. Oh, it absolutely is.
Or like not offering a motherfucker a seat when they walk in. You just like
Yeah, no, I'll do the Trumpian handshake.
show me like
With
the
that,
double.
like, yeah, you know.
I do the OG Trump. I grab their crotch, finger fuck them.
Oh, that's so 2016.
I know. Throwback shit. No, but what I found fascinating is you're like you do Reiki and healing and
Intuitive.
You're intuitive, and you trained yourself to do that.
I did.
How does I don't feel I feel like that was one of the things I would have liked to got into more of last time.
Yeah.
That no one will ever see.
So you can get more into it this time.
Yeah. Like, what are like some training things that a person can do?
Well, I mean, when I train myself, I've had mentors too.
Yeah.
To walk me through this. Man, a lot of meditation. I'll be honest. It's a ton of meditation, introversion, turning inward to really hone in on the skills. So, we've talked about energy, right? And like energy being everything. And like there's a way to feel that field. Right. We did.
I can feel it right now.
Right,
I can
right.
literally feel it.
So the more you play with that and work with everything, because everything's energy, the more you start to understand the feelings that come. So I don't know. When I dove into it, I don't know if I'm the exception or if it's normal. I don't know if any of this is normal. No, it doesn't show up the same for everyone.
Yeah.
The moment I started in my first class, introduction to Reiki, I saw hands. I saw things pointing out things in people's bodies.
That's what you were visualizing?
Well, the visualizing or saw, I usually don't see things, but the introduction was seeing things. Now it's just all a knowing and a feeling.
Yeah.
So I took it from, okay, I see that. And it was there. When I say I see things, visions are like quick. They're like a tenth of a second.
Yeah, it's just like a pop,
Right.
pop.
Right. So you're like, hey, whoa, can I see that again?
Right.
And sometimes they're like, yeah, cool. Or other times they're like, no, you saw it. Don't second guess it. Just go with it. So I had to take it from that.
Okay.
And that came through meditation. Like, no, you can't. We're not going to keep on showing you stuff. You have to take that.
Who's this we?
Okay. So I mean, that's. So you just told me you just got done reading the New Testament, right? So
yeah, I know.
Let's talk. If we're talking about religion, you have faith, right? They talk about faith and religion. So anything, you either believe in it or you don't. It's your choice. You either have faith in it or you don't. With this, having never had faith in this or anything coming into this, like it kept on coming. So I'm like, I guess I got to believe in it. If it keeps on coming and people keep on telling me, and I keep on seeing things, I got to believe what's happening to me. Yeah. So then I've got to talk with the we I talk about, or the them, is spirit. So I have spirit guides, whatever you want to call it. It's knowings of people and angels and ancestors that come through and give me messages. So now, instead of having to see it all the time, and they will show me visions, they'll show me, and it's always movies or music now. So they really tune into what I know.
Okay.
So
give me a for instance.
Okay, I've got great. I think I love telling stories of experiences. So I did a psychic fair in Mount Pleasant like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Like Paranormal Fest. So I was doing readings and healings.
That's middle of Michigan, central Michigan University. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And one of my clients came, and as I was just starting to work on her, and mind you, I don't want to know anything from my clients. First name, that's it. That's all I really want to know. Just give me your first name so I can talk with spirit about you, right? And with your spirit guides. So I had her name. She laid down, and immediately, have you ever seen The Big Lebowski?
Yep.
Okay, so you know the scene in The Big Lebowski.
Bowling ball scene?
What's that?
The bowling ball scene?
Yes. So you know when he's kind of like floating through the air and spinning underneath the legs? They showed me that scene. I'm like, what the hell? And they just kept on. And then they showed me Fonzie. And then they gave me an impact. I was like, did your dad die in a motorcycle accident? She's like, yeah, how'd you know? I'm like, well, they're showing me this. Like, did he wear a leather? Yeah, he had a leather jacket. I was like, did he kill himself? Did he do this? Yeah, he had killed himself by going out on his motorcycle and going 150 miles per hour and hitting a car.
Holy shit.
So they showed me that, but they showed it to me through the lens of The Big Lebowski, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. I'm a Dudist priest. So
are you a Dudist priest?
I am a Dudist priest. Church of the Latter-day Dude, man.
I've been observing the Sabbath. So there you go.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I've been not drinking on the Sabbath. I don't know if that. I think it's just nice to do something like that, just to take a break.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people are doing the sober January, but I usually do like a sober September or sober March, or I usually pick a month and go
I haven't
totally
came in
sober.
years. No, I'm playing.
Shit, man, you all powerful then,
bro. I know. I'm saying, like, since the last time.
Yeah, we talked about
I
that.
still ain't done none of that shit since. It's crazy. In the Bible, it says it goes against everything you're doing, but I'm still. That's
it does. And here's the way I look at. But at the same time, they talk about it a lot.
They sure do.
They sure do.
So this is what I was thinking as I was hearing you, because I think the main thing is like, because you don't know who the fuck you're dealing with. It's like they're like, hey man, I'm your homie Fred, and it's like you don't know. They're like, I think that's what. What do you think?
Well, so here,
because I'm new at this,
I can only explain how I experience it and how the people I know experience it.
All right.
And actually, I was thinking about this on the way here. How I view things. My business card says, guided by light, rooted in love. Right.
Okay.
So when I say love and light, that's all I deal in. I have colleagues that deal in, the paranormal, the scary, the entities. Oh, you got someone attached to you. I don't deal in that shit.
Right.
So when you talk about you don't know who you're dealing with, I do actually, because the way they come to me in a feeling of how I knew them in life. So when it's my mom's boyfriend or my former stepmom or my grandpa, or I know that feeling. I know they show me visions of them, how I love them the most. Because that's what I want to see.
Okay.
I don't want to see all this stuff that we deem as scary, because that's not what I'm working in. When I see something on someone in their energy, it is unresolved trauma is all it is. Yeah. So we can call it scary. We can put that label on it, but that label automatically takes us to fear, right?
Yeah.
And that's like, I don't want to get in a theology debate. But
No.
I'm just saying, part of religion is there's a control aspect, right? And control is about fear, right? So if you can control someone, it's about putting fear into them.
Yeah.
So if we can remove the fear and take the pieces of the Bible. I just went to Costa Rica in December on a healing retreat. It was really cool. And, I've done some mushrooms, and I had an experience during a healing while on mushrooms, and whatever. I'm not going to get into it.
Let me, you don't got to go super deep into it, but healing on mushrooms, is that like I imagine that turns everything up to like 11.
Yeah, more like 28. But yeah, it's there has to be intentionality behind it, right? I'm not just doing mushrooms to get high and see things. I'm asking questions going into it. There's things I want to know. So in that, there were representations of what we call ascended masters, like Jesus and Buddha. So if we look at Jesus as a representation of love and light, whether the man ever walked the face of the planet or not, it's none of my concern. What my concern, or what I love about it, is it was about love. The story of Jesus is about love and light. So, and he was a healer. So from my perspective as a healer, if I can dive into the love and light aspect of what we bring to people, how I change people's minds and perspectives and mindsets about what this is about or what they're dealing with is about, and we can remove that fear from it, that's all I'm looking to do. So when I talk about spirit guides or, angels coming through to me, it's the representation to me of love and light. That's all it is.
Were they always coming? Did you always have that? Did you always have the spirit guide, or was that something that came like for instance, I've always had I've had psychic dreams my whole life. Just I'm pretty I can read emotions a lot of times.
Right.
Like I can read the energy in a room. I've also been known to calm myself too. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well,
but
that's the game, right? That's the game. I was just having this conversation. You lead me into these conversations I've had recently. They're like deep thinking, and I was thinking that on the way down too. Like that's what I appreciate about you, Jude. You're a deep thinker. Like all this, you want to know. You want some answers. So that's cool. So and me too. So in the beginning, I was so skeptical because things are coming to me. I'm like, okay. It wasn't always pretty because I had that mindset of the negative, always in victim, always fear. So that's how it showed up to me in the beginning.
Oh, really?
So it was turning, it changed, it morphed.
Yeah.
But I think the first time, my first Reiki class, my mentor kind of walked us through a visualization to meet our spirit guides or our Reiki guides. So I saw that right away. And then as I'm a deep thinker too, I want to know the meaning of life and what this is all about. And it's really important in the work I do. So as I've gone through this, I go back to things that happened as a kid. That was nightmares and your imagination and imaginary friends. Like, oh, well, no, that was spirit. That's all that was, is just spirit. But we're told as children that we're not supposed to believe in that shit anymore. So we forget about it. But when we dive back into it, when things start to happen, we're get curious. We start remembering those things. Now the question comes in well, maybe that was something different than what I thought it was or what I was told it was.
Yeah, it's it's really interesting because everything's so half of the world is so materialistic, and they're like, we believe in science, and it's like that. You hear a lot of people use scientism as something that they believe in. That's the religion that's the religion of America, scientism, where it's show it to me.
You have to prove it to me.
But it's really dishonest because they don't believe they just ignore studies that go against their core beliefs. It's not they're not I believe in this. You give them some data, they're like, I don't know. They just chuck it out the window.
There's a study out there for everything. There's a study out there for every side of everything.
Yeah, that's right.
I can pick and choose all the studies I want.
That's right.
I know. I guess here's the way, especially working with people the way I work with people now. My experiences have to inform me on how I see other people, right? So I've never experienced what you experienced, but I know my experience of things. So there's this piece that we seek out validation and confirmation from other people in every aspect. Am I good looking? Do you think I'm handsome today?
Is it validation Is that like when you get a car and you notice the car all over the time, or is that something
I
different?
mean,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
Like, all I see is
I think,
volts.
yeah, I forget what that's. It's the
Or
red
is that a
car
different
theory,
one?
right?
Yeah.
So, or yellow car, whatever you want to call it. That's an awareness. You know,
Yeah.
when you bring something into your awareness, you're going to see it more often.
Yeah.
But I also think like we're taught to think a certain way. So like all this stuff is new to people.
And that's kind of what I was going to leading into was like we become so materialistic that we've like, yo, man, you read the Bible, that junk is like the stuff that's going on there. They're talking about like, I don't think there's aliens. I don't think there's aliens. I just think there's angels and demons. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I do.
So it's like, or even the fact that people are talking about we're in the Matrix and this is just we explain the unknown with the highest technology that we can get to right now.
Sure.
Like, it's a computer simulation. It wasn't a computer simulation until we came up with computers, and now that's the way we're dealing with things.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's all of that longness is to be like, yeah, dog. Like growing up, me myself too. It was just like nightmares and craziness and like shit was way more magical than we like to think it is, and
it can be magical now.
I mean, for me, it is magical.
Right,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? Like for me, but it's like to me, it's I've been doing it. Like my prayer is now is like, Lord, let me do your will, right?
Sure.
And it's really interesting. I'm getting the same results, but like now it's less for it's. Look, it's always there's always ego, but this way at least I'm like think I'm trying to do something bigger than my vision.
Right.
But it's happening. It's really interesting, and I think maybe you and other people. Everybody doesn't have that coming up, you know. Everybody doesn't grow up with psychic dreams, bro.
No, well, I think here. Believe me, I never thought I could do this. Right? People who did this type of thing, psychics, mediums, healers, all this metaphysical.
So wait, take me through that. You meditate.
Yeah.
How often?
Every day.
For how long?
A minute, an hour, just
Okay.
depends. It depends where I'm at, what kind of mood I'm in.
And how long did it take before the spirits started coming in and giving you stuff that you would be like, okay, I can hang my hat on that. Okay, this is beyond a coincidence. Okay, that's beyond a coincidence.
I think the first time that anything happened in a meditation that was like, what was that? Was like maybe the second time I meditated, and I kind of like, I'm seeing things. That's my imagination. It was a little like yogi dude kind of floating in and like trying to talk to me. I'm like, yeah, whatever, get out of here.
For real, man?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I must be hallucinating.
That's crazy.
So I don't know. The first time I actually believed it and actually like, wow, that's something I needed.
Yeah.
Was probably, well, I can tell you, it was the day after I finished my Reiki stuff.
The Reiki
my Reiki 1 and 2 class.
So that's energy
That's
movement?
like, yeah, it's understanding and moving energy to help heal people. So Reiki is like two Japanese words that mean universal energy field. So it's the energy field that's all around us.
Is that the same as chi?
Yeah, ki, life, energy, life of energy, or energy of life.
It's really fascinating how all over the world it's all the same words, bro.
Yeah. All this stuff, you talk to people in every religion. So, I work with, Buddhist people who are Buddhists. And like as they talk to me more and more, they're like, wow, you have a lot of our beliefs. Like, yeah, this stuff it's worldwide. Like, and that's where like Jesus and Buddha, they were just all visions of love. It's just about love and healing.
I believe that Jesus was God incarnate. And Buddha's a fucking guy, but I don't think anybody else was.
I think we all are. That's where.
Yeah, but see,
God is part of us. We're part of God.
Yeah, we're in the image of God.
Right? Yes,
we're the image of God. We're in the image of God.
Right, but
we also I've also been known to like jerk off to really weird shit and fucking eat too much.
There's no such thing as perfect. I mean, what's been
Jesus is my point. That's where you and I don't agree.
Right. I just think I mean, was Jesus perfect? Did he do everything perfectly? No, he had shadow too. He just dove more to the love. Do I do things wrong? Absolutely, I do. But I can now. Here's where like it all comes down to, right? Like when you can look at yourself in the mirror and go, "Hey, you know what? That thing I did was really fucked up. Let me figure out why I did that. Let me figure out what it was in my brain that caused me to do that."
Usually, it's ego.
Well, yeah, it's ego or shame about something. It's something that happened to us that makes us go into that ego place, right? Which is shadow, light, shadow, God, devil, however you want to term it. It's the same in the way I see it.
Go on.
And, you know,
no, yeah.
Like the yin and yang, right?
I'm working on like it's really interesting. I'm doing my best moving forward to like sometimes like. Cats we don't need to debate everything. No. And it's like, go on, like just talk to me. Like I'm here to listen to your side of the story.
And that's the like the labels. I don't give a fuck about the labels. All right, you know what I mean?
So there's like for me, it's that I think the darkness. Let me know what you think. Like I see the big darkness is like. The ego, and then it's like you deserve more than this. Like you deserve more. Oh man, you deserve better than that. Oh man, you let that motherfucker do that shit. Oh man, you deserve better than that.
So okay, take that same statement, right?
Yeah.
So take that. I deserve that. I deserve it. You know why? Because I'm good enough. I deserve that.
That sounds so therapeutic.
It is. But that's the thing. So if we change,
but if you're making that different, but like that by. A tree doesn't have to yell that it's a tree. It just is.
Yes. So I don't have to say that.
Yeah.
I just have to believe it. Because the tree doesn't have to say it either.
The tree believes it. Do you believe it?
Well, I try to.
Yeah.
But see that. So, you know, one of the things, there's research that says that our brain has like 1,200 brain cells. And our heart has like 4,400 brain cells. Why do we think with this all the time?
Yo, it's a right?
Like
that's some real shit, bro.
It's like resistance versus acceptance. That's what that's about.
It's our it's sometimes you just know things. Yeah, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just know things, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And
your heart does tell you that.
Absolutely. So when we can turn to that and listen to that, last time we talked a little bit about that, you know, like going towards the things that bring you most joy. Well, it may not always be the responsible thing. It keeps you in this high vibration. If everything's energy and love and light is like the highest vibration and shame and guilt is the lowest vibration, boy, I want to be in love and light as often as possible. So if I do the things that bring me the most joy, guess what? I'm going to be happy. So when I'm happy, I'm going to be thinking about happy things. And if we believe in the law of attraction, we're going to attract things that are happy when we're happy. When we're sad or upset or mad, we're going to attract those lower vibrational things.
I think what I find.
I know there's so many ways to go with it, right?
What I find with this is like the best way to be happy is to serve. Serving
for the highest good of all involved.
Yeah. So like the pursuit of happiness is only going to lead to fucking doom. So because it's like me. It's like jerking off.
But so that's where we talk about like I talked about that statement. I deserve this versus I'm good enough and this is what I deserve. There's a difference in that statement. One is ego filled and by lack I don't have it. I deserve it. I should have it. Right.
See, I'm like, man, what I'm trying to get to, and I don't know if this is right or wrong in your eyes, but I'm like, hey, man, I ain't shit, and I'm lucky to have this right here, and I'm blessed. But like, I am blessed to have this because I think the way. Let me just I know I'm in the image of God, but I also know I ain't shit. So it's that it's the
duality,
thing. and it's
the
as long as you remember the best way to stay in the image of God is to remember that you ain't shit. That's the twist.
I don't think so. That's where you and I differ.
That's right. Yeah. Go
So
on.
it's I used to say all the time before I did this, like, it's semantics. It's just semantics.
But it isn't, right?
But well, it is, because remember, the word is all powerful, right? So if you wanna use God, spirit, source, whatever you want to call it, I call it source energy, right? So God, if I believe I'm God and I want to be in the image of God, I believe that I am perfect just as I am. Do I have faults? Abso-fucking-lutely. But when I hammer on that and go, I ain't shit, I feel like I'm not shit.
Yeah, but see, it's funny, like, that shit doesn't hurt me. Like,
But-
like that's the whole point. The being able to look at yourself in the mirror, warts and all,
Sure.
and accept it. Suddenly, I ain't shit really isn't that painful. It's not painful at all. It's just a fucking like.
But
hey, man.
it may not be painful, but how much more powerful is I love you just as you are, saying that to yourself in the mirror? How much more powerful is that? Then I can go, yeah, you know what? I can go through this day, and when I make mistakes, I can have grace and forgiveness for myself. Or if someone else does something to wrong me, I can have grace and forgiveness for them, because you know what? I love myself first and foremost. So if I can love myself first and foremost, flaws and all, then I can look at you and go, I love you just as you are. You don't have to do anything. You do not have to believe me. Do not have to start thinking like me. I love you just as you are, just because you are, right? So
Go on.
It's harder to do that if we're not loving ourselves, right? And so I heard this quote the other day from a very good friend of mine. I'm like, son of a bitch, that's exactly it. Self-love and selfishness is great if you have self-awareness along with it. If you don't have self-awareness along with selfishness and self-love, it's not good. That's all ego-driven.
But see, that's so.
I can love myself and think I'm perfect and not be conceited about it. Because I'm not, because I've spent 50 plus years hating myself.
That's what I mean.
just
Like I
love
feel like,
myself
see,
now.
this is what I'm saying. Like that's what it sounds like when I hear it. Right? It's like this is the swing of you were whooping your ass and fucking self-flagellating for so long, and now you're like just trying to. And what I'm saying is like I want to get like, hey man, dude. You can be sinless, but the way to be sinless is you always got to keep yourself in check. As soon as you forget yourself, this is for me. As soon as you forget yourself, that's when it's a wrap.
No doubt.
That's what
No doubt.
you know who's the Nazi? I could never be a Nazi. That's who's a fucking Nazi.
Of course.
That's the guy that's going to be caught like
That's the narcissist. I'm not a narcissist.
Yeah. It's knowing. It's knowing.
It's the self-awareness.
Yeah, it's the self-awareness of our flaws.
Of all parts of it. Absolutely. Yeah. So like, we talk about perfect, and I am like, and even in healing, right? I have colleagues that are like, no, why can't you heal this one and done? Because it's never one and done. Because the dis-ease, the stuff that we suffer, when we look to be healed, is a trauma. So the trauma happened. So we're going to have things that happen to us in life that trigger the memory of the trauma. And that's where we go into ego and go down to shame and guilt, blah, blah, blah. So am I ever going to be without the memory of that trauma? No. Am I ever going to be without triggers? No.
Don't say that. Don't say that, because you might be,
But here's the thing.
What's that?
It's not that I'm ever going to be without the triggers or without the trauma. I'm just going to have more awareness. So when things happen, and I go, oh, yeah, that thing just made me feel this way. Oh, that's because this thing happened. Now I'm just going to I'm going to tell you like, hey, you just did this thing and this thing. I'm going to think of this thing. And I just want to say it, but I know it's not you. It's me. And it's my memory. It has nothing
so so
how much more empowering is that though, to have open communication with whoever you're with? Like, hey, you just did this thing. Has really nothing to do with you. But, you may have seen my energy change. And I just want to tell you why. How many times does that happen to you? Like someone says something, you're like, fuck, man, that hurt my feelings. And you're just
like
thinking about it.
You and I are doing similar things, but
we are.
But here's the thing. I'm just outsourcing. Yeah. I'm outsourcing to God. You're insourcing to self. I'm insourcing.
But so the thing is, I'm still outsourcing to spirit too. But I see God differently.
But like,
that's it.
And this is even before this happened even before I really came to Christ, and I was driving from like from out of Waterford into Pontiac and having to go to Pontiac to go get to get an LLC or something like that in Pontiac. This was right after I lost the job, and I'm driving through Pontiac, and I'm like, oh, that's where I got jumped. Oh, that's where my stepdad used to gamble away all our money. Oh, that's where I almost got kidnapped. And it was, you know what I felt? Nothing. And it was awesome. It was like this. It was like, it just was a thing. It was like, this is a pager. This is a needle. This is a cup. And so what I'm saying is like, I think that's when you know you're like over some shit, when it just is a fucking thing, bro. It's
sure.
Like, oh man, it's just a chair, man.
But okay, so and what I know to be, some days I'm all empowered. I'm all empowered and none of that shit bothers me. And then there's some days like I may just wake up not feeling great. And I'm in my feelings, whatever. I'm masculine enough to say that I can be in my feelings. And I wake up and something happens because, oh shit, I didn't realize that still bothers me. And I go, okay, well, that's the awareness. Okay. Yep. Okay. I can let it ruin then there's the choice, right? There's the choice. What's going to bring me more joy? If I sit and wallow in that, or if I just talk about it, get it done out of the way and go on with my day, that's going to bring me more joy. So I'm just going to do that. And that's me personally.
Right.
But I think it's a more empowering way of like owning our bullshit and going, yep, I fucked up. And I know, there's all these ideas that people can't change. We can't be different. We can't learn from our experiences. Well, this is just a way of learning from our experiences. And for me, it's about loving myself, because all those experiences that I allowed people to treat me a certain way is because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think I was worth anything.
What do you think about this? And this is not, you're gonna disagree with this.
I don't know if I disagree, but
I think that self-love just leads to depression.
Look, here, it's
like,
right in the way.
Show me a depressed person, and I'll show you a self-involved person.
I'll tell you. And so, what I look at as depression, we've talked about this before. I look at a lot of things in like 2 words, splitting a word up into 2 words.
Yeah.
So, depression for me, when I'm dealing with someone who comes to me and says, "Hey, I'm depressed." All right, let's talk about that. It's your body asking you to take a deep rest because you've learned some shit. Some shit's happened to you. I've been thinking about it. Well, why don't you take some time and really think about how it's affecting you? How did that thing affect me and all this information? When I take a class or a certification or learn a new skill, I then have to take time to let that sink in. And how's it going to integrate with what I already know? If I don't, I get all bogged down. I'm a thinker. I'm a deep thinker, right? So depression is when we're just keep on going and doing our thing, and then our body goes, nope, you got to let this integrate. So we get all shitty.
What do you do to when you're doing this, when you're helping people and healing them? Like, how do you protect yourself? Or do you need to protect yourself?
Sure I do.
Like, because
here's what I protect myself from. Because it's an energy, like I sit in people's energy, right? Like I'm asking their energy to take over my body is basically what I'm allowing their energy to do, so that I can feel how everything feels to them.
Will you do that, dude? I imagine you could do that wherever you go.
I can. I don't. I try not to.
Is it exhausting?
It can be if I allow it to be.
Yeah.
So what I ask for, like when I do a session, I want the most important things that we're there to work on to be, I want to feel that first. And then as I go through the session, I allow it to come through gradually.
Let's talk about vampires.
Okay.
I know there's some people I know in my life that's just like, fuck, bro. Like,
energy vampires.
Yeah, like I don't want them at the house. It's like I don't even dislike them or nothing like that. It's like if anything, my heart goes out to them, but it's like, yo, B,
So they drain your energy. That's why we call them energy vampires. They're just draining your energy.
Yeah, they can't help it, man.
Because they fucking hate themselves, dude. That's what it's about. I can take everything back to that. Someone hangs around you and just wants to drain your energy and pull you.
Yeah.
They hate themselves. They can't be alone with themselves.
Do you have any techniques to guard against that shit?
Yeah. Look, so if you go from the God standpoint, like my dude, my homeboy is Archangel Michael. So everywhere I go, he is.
Homeboy,
but that's God's homeboy too, right?
He doesn't believe.
Well,
go on.
I'm not a religious person.
Hey, no, go on. I'm listening.
But in the Bible, who is Archangel Michael?
God's
right-hand man.
God's homeboy.
That's
right. Go on.
Thank you very much. So he's my homeboy too.
All right, go on.
So even before I started believing in this shit, like when I was first starting to get into it, I remember the first time I went out, took a walk, and I felt this arm or wing come around me and pull me in close. I'm like, what the hell? And I just moved towards the side of the road a little bit more.
No shit.
And then a car turned down the road and went flying by me recklessly. Probably would have hit me had I not been moved. I was like, what the fuck was that? Okay. So what I know, Archangel Michael's about protection. Has a blue light. So I call in his light to protect me, my bubble, my protection, wherever. So if I'm out in public here, driving here, with the roads, how shitty they are, I'm asking Archangel Michael to protect me. I'm protected. Like you said, you're here to do the Lord's work, right?
Yeah, well, I'm trying, I guess.
Right, me too, man. And so you call it the Lord's work. I'm just here to serve. This is if I can help people, if I can help you feel better about yourself for an hour, I'm doing work.
That's what prostitutes do.
Sure, absolutely. It's a different way, though. The intentionality is what it's about. I just want... Man, if you walk out of here, if I say one thing in a session to someone that makes them feel better about them or gives them hope when they didn't have hope, man, that's all I'm looking to do. Because then they're going to walk out the door.
Seems so fleeting. That seems so fleeting, though.
It is. And so as I go through this, like I'm healing too. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Man, I get triggered all the time. So I'm just working through this. Just like everyone else, it's just I see it differently. I can help people in a different way. So as I move this way towards my highest, that's why I want to be. I just want to be the highest, the best I can possibly be to serve people the best I can in the most profound way. So as I learn to do that and I'm going like this and I get triggered and I fall down, I'm not falling this far.
Yeah.
And now when I go back up, I'm going up higher. And when I fall next time, I'm not falling as far. And not only am I not falling as far, I'm not staying down as long.
Yeah.
So, yes, in the beginning, fleeting. No fucking doubt. And some days, absolutely fleeting. But you know what? Then I go, okay, why don't you go in the mirror and just tell yourself you love yourself? And then let's look at these situations from a set of different eyes. Now I'm looking at all my situations in life like, yep, it's just a thing. And that's okay because I want it to be this way. So I'm going to make it this way. That's it. It's just changing the mindset. I try and do it as early in the day or as quick after a trigger of a trauma as I can. Yeah. I'm not perfect, though. None of us are.
I mean, that's the whole point. Like, so.
Point is having grace for yourself when you make a mistake.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? It's.
I'm human, too. I'm a soul and I'm human.
I think a lot of what we get into, what really kills us is just to be right. Like,
why?
Like, what's that ego? Well, because you want to be
that outside validation.
Well, you want to be righteous. I was just talking about this. I want to be righteous. I want to be the right person, and
you want to look a certain way to the people you're around, and that's
but see, this is the thing that I like. Mm-hmm. As a Christian, I'm like, yo, man, I'm right not because I'm right. I'm right because God died for me on the cross, and like he. And it's helped me. Like, I was arguing with a Ukrainian woman the other day, and I just stopped right in the middle of the argument and was like, you know what? I'm sorry. My fault. And I went and got her some Danishes and shit and a croissant. And she was like, fuck you to me the whole time, even when I came back with the little cookies and stuff. But it wasn't even between me and her anymore. It was just like, hey, man, I was wrong. And it's kind of nice just to claim being wrong.
Absolutely. Own your bullshit.
And with everything, with every single time, you can always claim we're never perfect. We're
No,
always a
that's what
party
I'm
in this,
saying.
right?
So I ran a resort out in California, and I was dating a girl who worked at the resort.
Okay.
And I was a manager.
All right.
She worked for me. No one knew.
Bruh.
So, and then we got taken over by Hilton. And so they put in a new HR policy. So like in this meeting, a manager's, well, I still got to, but I had to go to my GM and be like, yo, dude, this is the thing. And he had said all this shit about her, like to me, not knowing.
He's like, I want to eat her asshole.
No. He actually hated her. He couldn't stand her.
For real?
Really, and for good reason.
Chick that you were banging?
I can't talk shit about
the lady that you were banging?
Yeah. She had awful. I didn't think a lot of myself.
You were
beautiful,
her.
but kind of,
or you were like banging her so you could feel good about yourself.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Let me knock this one down.
Yeah, she was hot, but whatever.
Yeah.
So when he found out, he took me aside and he's like, "Dude, I'm so sorry for all this shit." I said, "Like, no problem." But he's like, "You got some owning up to do too." So we took a walk across campus. This was Atlanta, huge property.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to own my 100% in this. I'm like, wait, no, this is my fault. I'll own my 100%. He goes, yeah, you're going to own your 100%. I'll own mine. I was like, shouldn't we do 50-50? He's like, no. I have my own 100% investment into this.
Yeah.
And so do you. So I own my 100%. You own yours. And as a manager, and I managed a bunch after that, I took that forward with me like, yep, I did something to cause you to do this. And so from a management aspect, right? If we look at it from that aspect, like, yep, if I look at an employee, a team member and go, hey, you know what? You fucked up, but I fucked up first because I allowed you to do it, or I told you to do this and didn't explain, whatever. I had an expectation that I didn't voice to you.
I fucked up because I thought that you were capable. You fucking weakling.
Sure, right.
I don't think that's a good way to do it.
Well, no, but you can do it like, hey.
Fucking nincompoop. I fucked up for trusting you.
So. What if I say it this way? You know what? I should have given you better instructions, and I didn't do it. Instead of saying, why can't I fucking trust you to do that? Well, if we say it this way, okay, I should have given you detailed instructions how I wanted you to do that. That's my fault. I expected something of you that I didn't voice. You had
7 IQ points more, and you were able to fucking walk through this.
See, which one makes you feel better, leaving that room as the team member?
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you.
That's it.
Yo, after I dropped off the croissants and shit to the ladies, it was a real nice feeling.
Yeah, that's it.
I've told the story like 3 times. That's how proud I am.
Right.
Or I don't even know about it's
and
not
that's
even
like
pride.
the whole thing.
I don't pride. It's like, this is the cheat code to feel better about shit.
Right, because you felt better about yourself in that moment, right?
Well, here's the deal. I'm driving away, reworking this thing in my head. How many times have we done this? Like you're replaying that argument in your head, trying to be right, and it's like it gets dark, especially like you're in the car by yourself. You're like, and then I was like, fuck it, I was wrong.
Right.
Like, and then it's that like the way to know everything is to admit you don't know everything, right? Yo, fuck it, I was wrong. And then blam.
Yeah.
Got lighter, and I was like, I need to do something about this.
Yep.
So then I did that action. And then by the end of it, it was, I went to a party and we ate tacos, and I didn't think twice about it. You know what I mean? Like, and how many times have I not done that? And I fucking,
a million.
And I just showed up as a downer, just like, what do you do with that?
And you and I have talked about like that forgiveness and grace piece for yourself a bunch of times. No matter what you do, how bad it is, you still got to have forgiveness and grace for yourself. Yeah. So going back and was it right? Nope. Can I change it? Nope. Can I be different going forward? Yep.
Yeah. And like, there's no, like, I like this idea that like everything is to the good. Even bad things are bad things are to the good when used properly. Yeah,
right. It's just how you look at it's perspective. I'll go back to that a million times. It's about how you look at things.
You were talking about like Michael, your archangel, and you said blue is the color of like. It kind of made me think of all the like. I was looking at the picture there and these things like what. So in your estimation, like what are the different colors mean when you see like
there's all different kind of contexts to it.
yeah?
You know, so it depends if you're talking about archangels. Like, so
What about like auras?
auras, it all relates back to the concept of chakras or energy centers,
Okay.
which was developed tens of thousands of years ago in the Far East. So in India. So chakras,
By the Brahmin.
chakras are these energy centers that you can't see, but I sure as hell can feel them. And they have colors associated with them. So but they're the colors of the rainbow.
You know what my color is?
What's your color?
Piss yellow.
Depends on. Here's what I know. You know,
What's
and
that?
whatever. We all know different things about auras and chakras, and we all see it a different way. Auras and chakras change moment by moment. Colors, how the energy is moving. You know, I might say something upsetting to you, change your aura and your energy and your chakras.
Truly.
Yeah.
I mean, real
It's
quickly.
like it's that. I'll be
let
working
me
on
ask you this.
someone. Yeah.
Like with the bums and all the crazies and shit.
Yeah.
What are you seeing on them, man?
So that's a lot of shadow, right? So
It seems like yeah, like I don't
When's
know
the last
people
time
are-
you've been to Vegas?
like last year.
Okay, so I haven't been. My daughter, my daughter lived in Vegas for a lot of years.
Okay.
So, I went out there now with my ex-wife a bunch of years ago to see her, and like I was just starting to get into this energy thing and feeling energy everywhere I go, and I wasn't good about closing it off.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so we
a lot.
landed in Vegas and we're driving, and as we got closer to the strip, the feeling of heaviness around me was just almost unbearable. And like that first day was terrible. I just felt terrible. Bad things happened to us all day long. And like we had to have a talk, like, what's this energy about? Well, it's the desperation of the city. Everyone's so fucking desperate in that city, right?
Yeah.
So like understanding that, so that's what I feel. It's this back to that lack abundance mindset, right? They all have lack, and we keep on focusing on the lack.
What do you think about like
That's how I see it.
what do you think about demonic oppression?
It's that deep shadow. It's the same thing. We're so
Yeah.
involved in ego. It's all ego, right? All ego and that shadow take over our thoughts, because we're all here now. Now this is gone. People who come to me who complain about that, or other psychics, mediums, whatever, have told them that this is always just empty.
Hollowed out.
It's just yeah.
Man, I
So,
just
like,
remember growing
blank
up,
space.
man. Growing up, I would probably like once a year, bro, just check out. And I'd be like watching myself wild out. Like it would be like I'd be doing it, but I wouldn't be there, but I'd be there. Like it was a real weirdness, man.
Mm-hmm. Well,
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
and-
like, oh, like what's driving you right now, bro? Like or
you know,
Damn, man, like-
psychologists would term it one way. I look
see,
at it.
I
And
think science motherfuckers are bullshit, man.
I've been
think
around
this- I think-
psychologists,
yeah.
therapists, social workers my entire life. They are really good at what they do. They're taught a different way.
Yeah.
So, and they're no disparaging them. I mean, like I said, I have
No, I know you're
wonderful
I think
things.
Your old man, you didn't.
my
your
dad, my former stepmom, my ex-wife. I mean, they're all brilliant therapists and psychologists. It's really hard, even from my perspective, right? Or a healer, or whatever you want to call me. I understand all these concepts. I have the knowing. It's
Yeah.
really hard to put it into play in your own life if you don't love yourself. So I can know all these concepts, and I can look at you and tell you all this stuff, and I can turn around and get triggered walking out the door and have a bad rest of the fucking day. And
I think
know
it's
it.
impossible to love yourself. I think
It's not. It's
I
not
think-
though. Did I tell you this last time? So
Go
like
on.
2 years, the first 7 years I did this, I told people to do shit, and this one day I found I was like, "Yep, you're telling everyone this, but you ain't doing a damn thing." I had no integrity. So like at that point I went on a journey, and through it, like, yeah, no, you need to fucking own up to some shit.
that's kind of how I feel about all the shrinks, man. Like you want to do degrading things to a fucking chick, find the daughter of a shrink. Like that's how I'm like,
Not wrong.
You're like, let me just mush your fucking head into it. Like it gets dark.
It
Like,
does. It
yeah.
does. So look, if we're sitting in that all the time, it's going to be dark. But if we can, so okay.
What about this though? What do you think? This is the shitty thing, like, and tell me if you run into this problem yourself. It's like, yo, man, if you fix somebody, they can't pay you anymore. And I think,
it's a terrible business model.
And it's like, you don't have you don't got all the college debt like the shrinks do, man. These motherfuckers got pressure.
I got other debt. So
I get it, but like, all right. So
am I doing this for the money?
I don't think so, man.
Not at all, man. Not at all.
I don't
This ain't about the money.
But that's how I feel about some shrinks, man. Like, or even doctors. It's like, yo, man.
Oh man, I'm gonna get eviscerated if my dad or ex-wife hear this, but I'm gonna say this, and I've told them, and it is what it is. Oh man, this is really hard to say because I'm not a therapist. That's not what I am, right?
I come from I got therapists in my family, and I love them, but
we pay them
bullshit.
We pay them to tell us what we want to hear.
I agree with you.
No one pays me to tell them what they want to hear. If they do, they're going to the wrong person. I'm going to tell you what you need to know. I'm going to tell you the ugly bullshit.
How many times does someone go to you? Like 1, 2, 3 times?
Okay, this is
like,
this gotta sound like a cop out.
If it's the 10th time, you got to be like, I'm a fucking failure with this person.
No. I just fired a client. Well, at the end of last year, I fired a client. 19 times they came to me. In the last 5 sessions, it was an hour and a half of me going, it's this, no, it's not, it's this, no, it's not, it's this, no, it's not, it's this. Until they were crying and frustrated with me. I'm like, you're getting frustrated with me because you think you're doing the thing, but you're not doing it the way I'm telling you to do it. And you won't listen. Finally, the last time they came to me, they're like, you were right. Like, yeah, I know I was fucking right. You won't listen.
How do you like that?
I'm not, and it's not about me being right. It's about me going, if you would just do this one thing, this would go away. So yes, if someone wants to come to me to heal something physical, if they listen to me and do the shadow work or the inner work that I tell them to do, they only have to come to me once. Now, is that thing going to come back? Maybe. They might get triggered. They might have to come back for a reminder about what that thing is. I'm not in this to get clients for life. I have life coaching clients that come to me every couple of weeks, and they have things, and they want to know how to handle them.
Yeah.
And there'll be a time that they won't come to me, and that's fine. I'm okay with that.
That's probably, I would be bragging about that, but like, yes, this motherfucker.
I will brag about it because, go back to the scientific thing. People want to know, like, proof. Okay, proof. I've got a client that saw me once, stage 4 endometriosis. I didn't know that.
What's endometriosis?
It's this growth. It's an autoimmune disease.
AIDS.
No.
Super AIDS.
No. Right. It's like these fibrotic tissues that will grow all throughout throughout the body.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. So for me, that person, you've seen mangrove branches? Yeah, like down in the Everglades, right?
Yep.
You know how they all grow all over themselves?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
Ugh.
So this person had it from all through here, all the way down to the bottom of the pelvis, all the way down the right leg. I've known this person for a long time. I looked down and it's this. If you just go do this thing and have this conversation, that will go away.
Then you did? They did?
Yeah. I mean, the story is like 3 weeks later, she called me from the hospital. I'm like, what are you doing in the hospital? She's like, well, I didn't tell you. I had my tubes tied. I don't want to have any more kids. And while I was here, I didn't tell you that I had stage 4 endometriosis 5 years ago, and they cleaned me up. So they're going to clean me up. My doctor doesn't know what's going on because there's zero trace of endometriosis. A year now, over a year, she has not come back to me. I see her all the time, and she has no endometriosis. Still, a year later, it hasn't come back.
That's awesome, man.
And they say it's incurable. It's not something that can be cured. Well, I disagree. I don't think there's anything that can't be cured.
I agree.
But it's a mindset. You have to believe, you have to have faith that by doing a thing to clear energy, that will go away. Because all that stuff all disease is negative energy sitting in our body because we had a thing happen to us and we don't want to talk about it. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Yeah, man. But that's a lot of deep inner work to like dig up. A lot of times we shut that shit out.
Oh yeah, a lot of times bro. So, you that's kind of what they do, like with child abuse and shit, right? Yeah. They do it on purpose. They get you to this I can even speak on myself. Like
Psychologically, it's called disassociating.
Yeah, I'm told I just totally fractured. I probably was fractured
right.
into like 15 pieces, and
Right.
and for the longest I could
all do that.
I could black out and just do some wild ass shit.
Yes.
It's like, oh, that doesn't exist.
So in my world, I call that soul fragmentation. So every time we have a trauma happen to us, we leave a piece of our soul in that moment to protect us in the moment.
Yeah,
So-
or else we'll go fucking crazy.
Right. So at some point, the whole goal of being here is to go, hey, pieces of little Jude, get the fuck back here. I want to be whole again, to transcend to where I want to be. No, I'm serious.
I know. I just think about calling myself Little Jude.
Well, I do it all the
Come here,
time.
tiny Jude. Get inside of me.
So you hear about inner child, right?
Yeah,
Inner
yeah.
child's a big term, like whatever. Again, these labels don't mean shit.
But
to
there's
me,
something to
but
it, right?
There is. So,
Yeah.
and for me, for my work, like I talk about people like, you talk about depression. Depression, a big part of depression is not feeding the inner child what it needs. So you got to go, hey, 4-year-old Jude, what do you want to do for you right now? I want to go hit a baseball. So go hit a fucking baseball.
Man, there's all these studies, right? That Christians live longer, are happier, have better sex. No, it's all
Right.
And
Again,
it's
you
like-
can find a study for anything, right?
I know, but
Right?
like, let's say, but it just seems, and motherfuckers do everything, but
How many spiritual people did they actually interview for that?
yo, let
right?
me tell you,
Right.
but I gotta tell you something. I lived in LA for 20 years.
Yeah.
Spiritual people are the most miserable motherfuckers I've ever seen in my life. They're bitter, they're mad. They're
Not
like, this
all
is
of us.
look,
It's not a
I'm
blanket. It
but
depends
like-
it depends how they see it.
but like what I'm telling you, man, like 20 years in LA, bruh.
Yeah.
Like,
Am I the most miserable person you've ever met?
no, you're fighting it though.
Sure I am.
You know
of
what I mean? You're
course.
fighting it.
So, like we call it when we go through these things, like the dark night of the soul. Whatever fucking term you want to put it, we're gonna have our ups and downs.
I understand
So,
that, but I'm just saying,
it's
like,
okay.
what if? I remember going to like these. Shout out to my guy. He wrote the book Sex After Dawn. Fucking good dude. I forgot his name, but like, he had an award show for like. It was like a left-wing award show with a bunch of hippies and shit, and they were all bitter, and no one spoke to each other. And these are the people that do yoga every day and fucking read chakras, and everybody was frightened of one another. It
You
was
know what
really
they don't
gross.
do? You know what they don't do?
They don't speak to strangers. What's
You
that?
know, they don't do the inner work. That's the thing. Look, okay, there are sections of people who are spiritual, right? There's all kinds of different spiritual people. Do I do yoga every day? Fuck no. Do I do it from time to time? Yep, absolutely.
I don't know any happy yoga people. Do you know any happy yoga people?
Man, how many yoga people watch your show?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm cool with yoga people.
Okay, me too.
I'm cool with them, but
Look,
like I feel like they're always chasing the dragon to
Yeah,
try to fix some shit that's like
course,
this
they're
mysterious
They're
thing.
a bunch of neurotic people. Like if I stretch my body, I'll release the energy.
Yeah.
And whatever.
It's like
And
self-worship shit.
But that's not necessarily wrong. Here's the thing: is it's not one thing. It's not. There's no one and done. There's no I gotta do this and it's all over. It's so those people are trying. If they're only doing yoga, if they're only doing exercise, if they're not meditating and looking in the mirror and going, wow, I'm really fucked up. Why do I do that shit? Look, we have these experiences through our lives that we're supposed to learn from and take the lesson from
Here's the
so
thing.
that we can be different.
I think the surefire way to be miserable, especially like, is to think that you're a god, because suddenly, now you got to figure out this whole fucking world, and none of us are bright enough for this. There's so many. There's
Anybody that thinks they're a god, I don't think I'm a god. I think I'm God. I'm God. You're God. We're all God. So look, now I remove that. Right?
you just know. All right, go on.
So now I have no attachment to what God actually is. Right? I have no attachment to it. So I have no labels for anything. So now I have no attachment to anything.
Okay.
So when someone says, what you do is the devil's work, do you think that upsets me? No. I know it's not. I know I do.
People say that to you?
Of course they do. Absolutely.
Really?
Of course.
Take me through one of those.
Well, I mean, people think that like I do oracle card readings or I talk to dead people, right? So
Oh, yeah, that's
you must be
necromancy.
doing the devil's work. Well, it's not. I'm sorry that I have decided to commune with spirit to help you the best I can.
Yeah.
That's not devil's work.
Wait, hold up.
I'm actually
The person you're helping is telling you you're doing devil's work? That's fucking crazy.
There's people that will come into my place of business and go, what's that guy doing? Well, he does this. And then they'll ask questions and they'll be, well, that's the devil's work. I'm sorry, you're curious about it. And because you're curious about it, but you've been told a line of bullshit about it, you're afraid to actually get into it. It's just fear, Jude. Like all that stuff is just fear. Because I hear people say,
have you ever considered what if they're right?
What if?
I'm just saying, have you ever considered what if they're right?
So we talked about them. You said they mentioned the Matrix earlier, right? And like computer simulation or simulation. You know
Both of them.
You know what this all is for me?
Tell me.
It's a movie. It's my movie, though. It's my movie. The way I see it is my movie.
But that's the whole thing.
So it's your movie too.
No. But like that's the whole. That was, you could say we're not gods, but as soon as you say it's my movie,
yeah,
you're calling yourself a god.
Not really.
You're calling yourself the director of your movie. In a way, we all are.
Right, but that's taking the attachment away from what if there's a God, what if there's not a God? What if there is a God and I'm totally wrong about all this? I'm not, but what if there is? What if I am? What's gonna happen? I don't
fucking know, man. I
exactly.
don't know. Look, man.
So look, what I can tell you is I'm the son of a psychologist, a scientific dude who needed scientific answers for everything his entire life up until I proved him wrong. But so being the son of that, going, I need proof for everything. I always needed proof for everything. Tell me
about you and your old man right now. Like, what does he think of this?
I mean, so here's
what do you think of what he thinks?
He's a quiet dude.
Yeah.
Right. His dad, my grandfather, was an Assembly of God preacher. So
which one is that?
Southern Pentecostal healing. Speaking in tongues. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So we grew up with that, hitting us upside the head. Lord bless this child, right?
Yeah.
Moved to Ocala, Florida.
I know that place.
Yeah, to build the first Assembly of God church because God told him to. I mean, this is
I'm listening.
So my dad pulled us away from that when I was like 7, and like, don't be a sheep. Have a thought for yourself. I mean, I remember this conversation. It was on fucking I-95 in Florida.
So, old man, how old are you? You're like
I was 7
10,
at the time.
7? Okay.
Yeah, my sister was 11 or 12.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care. Don't believe me. Don't believe them. But take it all in and make a decision for yourself. Believe what you believe, not what they tell you to believe. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And I always did that. And so I would have called myself an atheist from then to 37.
Pop, I'm a wizard. And what does he say to that?
But so now, and there was a time that I have to own up to my shit in not knowing, not having the information. I talk about having expectations that aren't spoken.
Yeah.
If you have an expectation of me and you don't tell me, you're going to be disappointed, aren't you? When I don't do the thing that you expect me to do. Yeah. But you didn't tell me you needed me to do that, did you?
You can't read my mind.
Right,
I'm mad at you
exactly.
for not being able to read my mind.
So, long story, I wrote a letter because I had a misunderstanding about some things that happened, and my dad and I didn't talk for a decade.
Holy shit.
But what I know is that that's happened going back 8 generations. I didn't see my daughter for 17 years because her mom stole her from me and ran. So, there's patterns that we go through. This is a pattern. So I didn't talk to my dad. I didn't know it back then.
Isn't it crazy like how there's certain things that just families are real good at?
Someone told me that. A medium told me that. I was like, nah, that's bullshit. And I dove into it. I was like, holy fuck, that's actually right.
8 generations.
8 generations. So I had to go to work on my daughter first. And like my daughter's lived with me for 3 years. So,
that's cool.
So my dad.
Is she into this as well?
She's really curious. Really curious. So like, and she.
Don't let her start doing yoga, man.
She's curious about why she feels the way she does, and there's a lot to that. She's had trauma in her entire life.
Yeah,
she was kept from her dad.
What? Her mom must have been talking cash shit about your ass, huh?
For years, but
that's rough.
But here's the love and light thing. I don't hate her anymore. I can't have hate for people like that.
I'm not even talking about between y'all two. It's like, can you imagine the abuse? Like, hey, this is half of you, and that guy fucking hates you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's
Which is
not cool.
it's
to
nothing
do
but
to a kid,
a lie.
man. That's out cold, bro.
Love that kid. Love that kid. So my dad, when we started talking again, then I started doing this, and I would talk with him at like family gatherings. He'd just be like, never say anything. I tell him about awesome healing sessions that I had, amazing things that happened.
Well, it's funny because it's like you followed in his footsteps without following in his footsteps.
So,
and
and
then
that
he
was
probably is looking at you sideways about it, huh?
And that was the big thing. So look, again, let me. A couple years ago, actually, it was 2 years ago next week. I went to his cabin for the first time, and it was just him, my sister, and I.
Okay.
I've been working on my sister for now almost 6 years about anxiety. She doesn't think she's an anxious person, super anxious. But I pointed out one time, I don't have anxiety. Really? You worry about everything. So here's that feeling that you're having right now, because I was feeling it. Here's what you do. And I gave her a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're sitting in the cabin having dinner, the three of us, 4.5 years later. And she goes, hey, I finally did that thing. And I told her, you got to catch yourself feeling anxious. And then you got to do this thing. So she said,
What'd you ever do?
So it's, look, when you feel that feeling, whatever the feeling is, so we're using anxiety, the flip-flopping of the stomach, heart racing, sweating, however anxiety shows up for you.
Okay.
When you feel it, you have to stop and go. So first of all, you have to have awareness that you're having the feeling, right?
All right.
Then you have to go, oh, I'm feeling anxious. What am I having anxiety about? In my vernacular, the way I look at things, anxiety is a feeling of fear. So what am I having fear about? What am I telling myself a story, false evidence appearing real, that ain't even fucking happened yet?
Yeah.
So if I can change those thoughts from fear thoughts to love-based thoughts.
What would be a love-based thought?
So, okay, I'm coming in to do a podcast with you. I'm really nervous. I'm going to fuck up. I'm not going to say the things I want to say. That's fear-based anxiety, right?
Right.
So instead, I know my shit. No matter what I say, I know it's right from my point of view. It's just love-based. That I want a positive thing to happen.
Okay.
So I'm only going to think about that positive thing. So that makes anxiety go away. I'm
so
no
how's
longer
her?
thinking.
So and that's what she's doing now.
So, well, when she catches herself, that's the big thing. Like, you gotta catch yourself, and most of us don't. So she did. So she told that story, and my dad having wanted me to go to college to be a psychologist.
Instead, you're out there fucking
I
waitresses.
worked in restaurants for 30 years. I went to school for sportscasting.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a sportscaster, and
you end up doing what your old man.
So he sat there and he sat back. He's like, holy shit. I'm like, what? He's like, you're a psychologist. I was like, well, it's my path. This is my path. I got here my way. And it had to look this way for me. And now what I know, I didn't know that day. I had to have all these experiences that I've experienced, my daughter being taken from me at 2 months old, to realize that, oh, my dad filed for divorce when I was 2 months old too. Oh, there's a pattern there. What's my lesson from that pattern? There's no such thing as coincidence. Things happen over and over and over again for us to go, oh, wait, fuck, maybe I should do something differently about that. What's the definition of insanity? Doing something over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So you got to do something different. If things aren't right, do something different. And really, that's all I want people to do. Look at things in a different way. Pull yourself back. All this that you have invested in something, pull yourself out of it and think from here. How does it feel to you? Dive into that feeling. We're all afraid of our feelings. So we run from our feelings instead of going, hey, what's that feeling about? Why am I sad when I watch this movie? Well, let me think about what happened to me. That might have been, it's deep, dude. This is not easy. It's ugly.
These are very broad strokes.
It is huge broad strokes. So you have to go.
What do you hope for? What do you people? You're doing well. So people, you're in Clarkston. You're based in Clarkston.
Yep.
We'll put everything up.
Yeah.
Is there anything I should have asked you?
I guess the big question I get is what do you do? Right? I have all these titles: Reiki Master, Medical Intuitive.
How many years does one have to be in Reiki to be the master?
Well, you just have to go through the classes. So, it depends on your teacher. It took me I took a year to go through all the classes.
I wouldn't call you a master.
Oh, I am. And I love teaching people too.
Hey,
So I teach people too.
I think you do weird sex things now, man. The way you did it, I think he goes, yeah.
What I do with the energy on my own time.
You're like, oh, I'm gonna take.
Are you a Chevy Chase fan?
Yeah, sure.
So you ever seen the movie Modern Problems?
No, I haven't.
It's like from 1980.
All right.
He gets he's driving home from work and he's behind a truck that's carrying nuclear waste.
Oh, he gets a nuclear.
It gets in an accident, spills all over him. So the stuff he does is pretty fascinating.
Is that what you do?
No, I'm not going to share my secrets.
Yo,
but look, it's.
Thank you for coming back out here.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me back out.
Yeah, man. I felt so bad when we couldn't get that shit right for you.
I was saying before you walked in, like I've done a couple of my own podcasts, and I had that happen with my first run of mine. So like, God dang it, echo and everything wrong. So I get it. No big deal.
Tell people where to find you.
So you can find me in Clarkston. Yep. At Nails on Main, kind of weird, and a nail salon cafe, but I got my own private little office.
I think it was interesting because it's like a lot of ladies are there.
It's really interesting, and it gets me introduced to a new group of people that actually really need it and are interested in it.
Yeah.
So and I'm from that area, so I get to work on people that I love. They're coming to me, and I just get to see more people. So jasonwindell.com is my website.
Windell.
Correct. And so you can book sessions on there. You can learn all about me and what I do.
You got the hats.
I do have the
love
hats.
hats.
Yep. Yeah. Be love.
Be love.
Be love. And all my social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, are all at Jason Windell Healing. So I do daily affirmations every day. I do card readings.
What's a daily affirmation?
So it's an I am statement.
All right, go ahead.
Empowering yourself.
Go ahead and with a daily affirmation.
Oh my God. Now you got to make me pull one up off the top of my head?
I don't know fucking shit. I'm trying to get an example.
All right. I am, let's see here.
I am somebody.
I am surrounded by spirit, and I allow and accept their love with grace and ease.
Well, God bless you.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. Acceptance is a big thing, man. I'm just trying to accept love from everybody I encounter.
Yeah, man.
That's it. That's it.
Well, put it there.
I love you, brother.
I love you too, man. I really hope the best for you. And
Thank you, and you too.
Quit putting Jesus in the same sentence as Buddha, man.
Hey, man. They're all expressions of love, my friend. Love you. So I got to tell you, when I was in Costa Rica,